life, or actually it's a night in the life of a real estate investor. So I got back home late and I wanted to record this video. This was about taking risks. This is number 85 coming at you, and I'm Ryan Nickel. Here's the thing. Okay, so let me give you the backstory here. Property was mom died, and that's it. Mom died, and this was back in December, and no one had a key to the house. The house had just been locked, sitting up here. We're in the we're in the middle of June right now. The house has been locked up since then, and no will, nothing. Lender is foreclosing on the property. Game over, right? And so I've tried every which way I could to work this deal out, and I finally just came back to the person. I said, look, you know what? I can't figure a way around this one. If we're going to go to probate, hang on, I'll be done in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
If we're going to go to probate, we're racing the clock here. I'm racing the clock against the lender. The lender's getting ready to foreclose. If I hit, if I get into to the probate court and they delay things for whatever reason, whatever paperwork or ducks in a row, the court referee can't go out there and assess the value of the property, I'm hosed. We're going to lose the property, or I don't want to take money out of my pocket and do this. And there's many different reasons why it wasn't a good deal. So I gave them everything back, all the paperwork, everything they loaned me, and I said, here you go. Thank you, I'm sorry. And they were sad. They're like, we thought if anything could happen, you were the person, we really wanted you to do it. And I'm like, it's too risky. It's just too risky, and I'm going to, there's just not, having an investment, yes, it is a risk. This one, it's a gamble that I'm pretty certain I'm not going to win this one. This is going to be a race to the finish, and I'm probably not going to beat the lender for the foreclosure, because there's no way to stop a foreclosure when the person is deceased. So anyway, I slept on it. I gave them all the information back, and I slept on it. And then I got a call this morning from somebody, and they're like, "Hey, this is the situation. We're interested in buying a house. We want to rent from one first, and all this stuff." And I said, "Okay. I'm sorry, I don't have any more properties. I'm all out. But I got, I'm gonna tell you what. I have one property that it's not mine, but I was trying to work something out, just couldn't do it. Worst case scenario is you move in, and we try to work something out with the bank, and the bank takes it, and you're out. I understand you're looking for a rental, possibly a rent-to-own situation, but this is the situation here. I don't think I can beat the timeline with the bank, but if you know that going into it, at best you might have 5-6 months in this property before the lender says, hey, see ya, you got to scoot. And you might get lucky, you might get some cash for keys, you might get a month or two, maybe 3 of free rent, while there's a transition between the previous owner and the lender. And that's the situation. And I was just completely open and just transparent with them. I was like, look, this is it. This is the risk. If you're interested in this property, great. I'll see what I can do. I personally don't own this property. I was in the process of doing it. This is the situation with the courts and all that stuff and the foreclosure. And that was it. And so the guy's like, well, let me talk to my wife. So he calls me back. He's like, hey, you know what? I'm in. We want it. And I'm like, all right, well, let me go back to this family and let them know that I'm now interested again. So I drove back over there today, and I'm like, okay, and my mom's visiting from out of town. So I was telling my mom, like, these are all the risks. She's like, well, you got a lot of strikes against you. She's like, strike 1, lender's foreclosing. Strike 2, you got probate. Strike 3, it's upside down. Strike 4, it's upside down in rents if you did bring it current. Strike 5, the house is just, it is livable, but it's not livable kind of thing. So I'm like, yeah, I know there's a lot of downside to this property. There is some upside to it in the way that I do invest, and that it could be profitable. But again, it's going to be a very short window for that profit. So anyway, I drive over there and I talk to the family, and I say, hey, look, this is the situation, and I'm willing to take this risk on if it's something that you're willing to work with me on. Because they're like, look, we don't want this house. We're done with it. We're completely done with it. It was my mother's. It's yours. We don't want it. We'd rather have it go to you, Ryan, and you work something out, than have it go to the bank and they just do what they're going to do. And even if you lose, Ryan, we're okay with that. I'm like, okay, as long as we're all on the same page here. I said, but it's going to cost me money out of my pocket, and in order for me to offset that, I need to put someone in there immediately. And this is a tricky situation, but because you naturally are the heirs of this estate, we can work some things out. I've talked to my attorney about it, and this is how we can do this. And so I explained it to them. They're like, look, like, Ryan, whatever you need to do, we're here to support you. You need to sign paperwork, do whatever, we can do it. And I'm like, well, if you're on the same page, I'm on the same page, and this particular soon-to-be renter, and then hopefully, and we can work things out, become a buyer, we might get a deal. So in all of that, again, I had already walked away emotionally. I was done. I washed my hands of it, and the situation came. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this risk. So I drove over there to their house. We had this conversation, and then one of them goes, you know what? I found some of Mom's old paperwork. Let me go get it. Maybe we can help. This can help in the situation. So she pulls it out. She goes, I got a power of attorney right here. I'm like, okay, well, power of attorneys are, until the person is dead. So, you no longer have a power of attorney, but I'm glad that you have a power of attorney. She's like, well, the bank doesn't know that they're dead. And I'm like, okay. We're now crossing a very fine line here. But I'm talking to my attorney because with probate, there's a natural succession of heirs. So the heirs can go ahead and act on behalf of the state. They just cannot sell the property because they don't have title to it. But they do have, it is, as far as succession goes, it is their property. Looking through these papers, we find a will. She's like, I didn't know Mom had a will. Guess who is the executor of the will? Guess who gets the property? Guess it's the same person who was the power of attorney. It's the person that I've been dealing with. She was the power of attorney, and she also is heir to the estate. So technically, all we need to do, we don't need to go through probate anymore. We don't have to wait on the attorney, on the court referee to determine the value and all that stuff. The court now just follows the statutes of the will. It's in and it's out. We can be in and out in a couple of months, instead of like in a month and a half. Instead of actually going all the way through the probate cycle. So, with that said, she's like, well, the law of succession is this property is hers. The will stipulates that. So she technically can go ahead and start signing over the leases and doing things like that. Let me, do purchase contracts and stuff like that. Everything in theory is that. We just have to have the court ratify the will stating that she now is the legal owner, and then she can go ahead and deed the property over to me however she wants to do it, and then I can cure the debt and we can move forward. Or I'm actually not going to cure the debt on this one. I'm actually going to defend the foreclosure and sue for a short sale. This gentleman's a vet that wants it, needs some work. We can do some work in the meantime to make it livable for them. And we can definitely get a short sale on this property because it is already upside down as it is, and he can use his VA loan on that. So I'm thinking, I'm not that familiar with short sales. Either way, I have another investor who's already said that he's willing to step in and buy it on a short sale and then turn around and sell it to this vet. So regardless, we got that one wrapped up. Moral of the story, take risks. Take calculated risks. Don't be stupid. Just run out there and just go crazy with ignorance on fire. But take some calculated risks. I really thought this one through. I looked at all of my options. I spoke with my legal counsel. I fully disclosed to everyone, to the heirs, to this person that could be buying it, so that there's no confusion whatsoever. And in fact, we're going to have disclosures like crazy on this one before anyone exchanges hands, before anyone takes a step into the property as far as being able to occupy it. We all understand the risk and what we could lose if the lender does accelerate the foreclosure. The lender does win on this one though, because right now the property has not been lived in. It has been locked up. Oh, found the key, by the way. Yep, there was a key. Surprisingly, mysteriously, the key shows up. So this house has not been lived in though since she died in December. It's like, how do you get the body out? Well, they locked it up after that. Mom, not to be rude or crass or anything like that. Mom's body is like being willed out. They locked it up and like, oh, we're done with this house. You know what? We don't want it anymore. And that's what happened. But here, so the lender's asset is actually getting improved and protected because it's been deteriorating for these last 6 months, 6.5 months here. So we're going to put someone in there. We're going to live in it because as a house that's vacant, it's the wires, the plumbing, the ventilation, everything starts to deteriorate inside that house. So we're actually going to preserve that asset. We're going to protect it against vandals. There's a lot of vandalism in this particular, not in this neighborhood, but in that region of the town where I live in. So anyway, again, coming back, make sure you take on some calculated risks because these risks can pay off. This one, if this works out, this would be a very good payday. If not, even in the short-term window, there's still some profit to be made, even though it's very short-term. and the heirs don't want it, but they want it to go to a good family because it's, you know, mom's memory. The person that moves in, they get a place, they have temporary relief. They might even get a couple of months free rent, maybe some cash for keys. Again, no guarantees, no promises. We're being optimistic that that's the possibility. I'm getting some cash flow. Long term, we're able to negotiate with the lender, work out some kind of short sale deal, or even a modification that works out, and I can do a rent to own. So anyway, there's opportunities here, but because we took the risk, we're going to see what we can do with the reward. So anyway, moral of the story is you're just one deal away from really changing your financial future here. And you gotta really think these things through and look at what your calculated risks are, because they really can pay out in dividends. All right, I'm Ryan Nickel, and it's the day in the life, or a night in the life of a real estate bootstrap real estate investor. And it's just about, what time is it? It's a little bit after 9 o'clock, and my kids are camping on the trampoline, and they want me to come join them. So that's where I'm heading out, to go camp on the tramp. All right, peace.